Some dumb shit. Kind of reminds me of the late Roman Empire, where they became increasingly repressive and mysticist as they declined. Yeah, and these are markers of societal decline. Literally, I am an archaeologist. I can recognize this shit as it's happening. My degree is in archaeology. You know, I've looked at ceramics from societies as part of like class assignments from their peak and from their decline, and there's a marked difference between the artistic themes and even the quality of construction. I assure you, if any of the like political material from the 21st century survives long enough for archaeologists to like get a look at it, everybody in the archaeological community, in the academic community, will be like, oh yeah, this was a very, very severe period of decline. Like, even down to like really deteriorating city structure and construction standards, right? Like, it's everywhere. And of course the reactionism is going to be a symptom of that, because trans people have existed since forever. Like, everybody loses sight of this in the discourse that, of course, that isn't trans or that isn't intimately familiar with the subject matter. But like, being trans is not a new thing. Again, this is where my expertise in archaeology relative to most people helps me. There is evidence of trans people existing as far back as like we have documentation of human society. Like, literally, you could go back and look at Babylon and Assyria thousands and thousands of years ago, and there are trans people. In fact, trans people were pretty fucking important to the religion in those days. You know? A lot of them were priests. Or at least a lot of the ones that we know about, because that's where, you know, there's like a survivorship bias. That's where we have documents from, so that's what we see. Funny that people in the Until Dawn game are smarter than these people. I mean, I guess most competently written characters are smarter than like the majority of people. Like, a person is, again, like Men in Black. I can't believe that Men in Black was so based in sociology pilled at the time that it was written. Like, a person is smart. People are dumb and panicky and reactionary, like, as a group unit. It's very easy, if you address people as a group, to instill reactionism. But at the same time, you also have to, like, isolate them. You have to instill groupthink in people on a one-on-one basis to manufacture and maintain this kind of reactionism. Genuinely wonder how you'd analyze meme culture and degeneration from an archaeological viewpoint. That is something I've wondered as well, especially during my archaeology classes in college. I was thinking about this, and I think we had some discussions of it on occasion, that eventually there is going to be a time where the digital existence of the 21st century is going to be long enough ago that archaeologists will start to pick through it as part of the material record. And I actually don't fully know, even being part of the contemporary, like, information, disinformation, like, meme landscape, I don't really know how you're gonna, in what way you could make heads or tails of some of this stuff. I guess you could, since memes fundamentally are meant to be humorous, are meant to be jokes in somewhat of a different format, are meant to be, like, funny and socially relevant and critiquing the current state of society, you could kind of use the genre of humor to be a loose barometer for where general societal sentiment is. You know, there's a lot of like, haha, I'm fucking depressed and life is meaningless kind of memes out there, and you could use that as like an indication of like, oh wow, life was really not great right now. When the Skibbity Sigma Riz Ohio becomes historical, how do you even analyze it? I don't know. You would probably have to, you'd have to method act that shit, right? You have to get in the mindset of a Zoomer or somebody from Gen Alpha from the 21st century. You have to start wearing the gold chains. You have to get the broccoli cut, acquire the broccoli cut. You have to get tatted up, and you have to start twerking, right? You have to stick your gat out for the Rizzler, and you have to do this in Ohio, right? Like, you guys know the Daniel Day-Lewis method acting, whatever. You have to do that, and then you will start to understand what the Skibbity memes. are about, and then you can analyze them. That's a very elaborate way of saying I actually don't know. This sounds like a different dialect of English to me, Lamau. It very well might be. This is one thing that a lot of people will rag on is neologisms. But, you know, language changes a lot over time. Even shit that we would consider modern English a few hundred years ago, fucking almost unintelligible to people today. You know? And then obviously a lot of the shit that we're saying today is going to be unintelligible to people 200 years ago or 200 years from now. You know? That's kind of how language changes and evolves. Like, one thing that I've actually noticed, and you could actually use this as a marker of societal decline or at least hardship, is the presence of swear words more and more. That is not to say that using swears is bad. I think that it's based, and personally I really enjoy swearing like a fucking sailor. But I've heard a lot more people in professional context just casually use the word like shit. You know, like a turn of phrase like, oh yeah, you know, shit like that. People will say that a lot more casually nowadays. You know? I had another star. Ah! Mods, report me for cheating. The concept of swears is stupid. Yeah, a lot of swear words in English are of Germanic root, and were sort of frowned upon by like the Norman ruling class in England or whatever. At least that's what I've heard, where like a lot of swear words will be of in English are of different roots than some of the other parts of the language, and they were like taboo as a method of suppressing very common things that you would say in that language. Spanish is like one of the languages with the most insults, so I don't know what to make of it. I think it probably means that Spanish speakers are spicy. And I'm okay with that. Although it is also true that, like, if we're using the same metric, Spain has also been, like, an empire in decline. You know, the Spanish Empire reached its heyday probably in the 18th century, and for a lot of the 19th and 20th century, they were in a period of more imperialistic decline, you know, losing colonial possessions and stuff like that. As a Spaniard, we're like, weird? Oh, you're a Spaniard. Nice. Pretty much they originally just referred to the literal meanings and the Normans didn't like it. Yeah, that makes sense. There's a village called Shitterton in the UK. Completely inoffensive in the Anglo-Saxon period. Yeah, because that was just how a word. That was just a word in Anglo-Saxon. But then the Normans were like, we don't like that. Some goofy shit. Ow! But yeah, I guess if I had to take a stab at it, the increasing surrealism, detachment from reality, and glib nature of a lot of memes are going to be good indicators in the future for archaeologists to note periods of societal decline, potentially. You know. That's my best, like, educated guess for that. But I can't say for sure, because the internet is still, like, a historically very recent phenomenon. And memes are, like, also kind of recent in a similar time frame. There are memes that predate the internet. For example, you know, a lot of political campaigning and sloganeering was very mimetic for its day. Like I don't know if anybody has seen this poster of FDR, like one of FDR's campaigns, where he literally depicts himself as like the new age urban infrastructure steel train, like Giga Chad, complete with a chiseled jawline. And then he depicts, I think it's meant to be like Hitler or the Nazis, as these like ugly smoke smoke-filled, like, billowing coal trains by comparison. Okay was political slang? Yeah, it was. I think there's gonna have to be a reconciliation that what we now call memes have been like a part of history for a long time, and we maybe just need to recognize certain things as by name mimetic, so that we're better able to draw analogs between stuff that we can already see and like online culture, basically. Okay, barely landed that. And I am in third with no item. Yeah, Chad FDR versus version Nazis. You don't want to recognize that? That would make them sound unoriginal? What do you mean? Like, the academic community? I don't think the academic community, like archaeologists, I don't think they would have that big of an objection to sort of drawing that parallel. You know? I mean, internet people? Oh! Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people that are just not very interested in critically analyzing internet culture. Because there's a lot of, like, there's a lot of people that subscribe to a very South Park mentality that caring about things and being interested in things is cringe. Don't you know you're supposed to be performatively uninterested and jaded about everything? I mean, this is a period of societal decline. But no, you know, we are autism havers here. We all experience a touch of the tism, so, you know, we like things, particularly trains. For example, a train that is made of steel and has FDR's face on the front of it and a chiseled jawline. Chris Chan and their internet culture impact in 200 years is going to be crazy study to read. True, that is going to go so crazy in fucking... In the year 2200. Be like, the impact of Chris Chan on 21st century internet culture. Vis-a-vis 4chan. And Twitter. Like, legit, somebody could and maybe even should write a study about that when the time comes. Don't forget the lesson about Pepe the Frog in schools in the future. God, that's so true. People are gonna have to... They're gonna have to learn about that shit in American government class. Or like, if America doesn't exist, in, like, their politics class. After this race, I think, I'm gonna pull the, I'll be able to pull the text list of stuff. Apparently cavemen have been drawing dicks for at least 12,000 years. Yeah, dude, one of people's favorite pastimes, as long as drawing has been a thing, we love just drawing giant cock and balls everywhere. You know about the Herms? You know about the, in ancient Greece, God, these people were gay as fuck. In ancient Greece, there were, you know, Hermes was actually the god of, like, he was the god of traveling, I think, and like fertility, I think, and stuff like that. Human race is horny. That's very true. And there were actually along major thoroughfares and routes in ancient Greece, in ancient Greek like city-states. There were these statues called the Herms on the side of the road, where basically it was a bust of Hermes, you know, like the statue, the head and the shoulders, and then it was like a rectangle, but there was a giant cock and balls at the anatomically correct position where the cock and balls should be. And I shit you not, if you were a traveler, in order to pray for the protection of Hermes, you would go and lube up the cock and balls for good luck. I only wish I made that shit up. That is real. Sometimes the Herms were not even a statue. It was just a pedestal with a giant dick on top of it. And you would then go and lube up the dick for good luck on your travels. You did. I'm not making up any of this shit. You can feel free to fact check anything that I've said during that. I can believe it with how horny the Greeks were. Oh yeah, it's one of those things that at the same time, I can fully believe it, but it's also hilarious. You know, and with the pedestal, it wasn't. It was like a column, right? You know how they had like the square bit on the top and bottom. It was literally presenting the cock and balls to you, a giant cock and balls made out of stone to be lubed up. And then you go and you're like, oh, I am a traveler. I must lube up Hermes' giant cock and balls as presented to me through this effigy for good luck on my journey, so I may make it to the next town safely. And then you did that. And that was just, everybody did that, apparently. Republicans would call you liars if you told them. Maybe. I have half a mind that they would just say, man, the Greeks were degenerate, and then go back to idolizing the Greeks. Republicans would vote against teaching Arabic numerals in school. I think they already did that. They had like a virtue signal vote in a couple of red states. And then somebody was like, hey, dumbass. Like, Arabic numerals are what we learn. The, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are Arabic numerals. What, do you want kids to learn Latin numerals? Dead fucking language? Like, yeah, good luck. Ow, you got me. Thanks for watching, and support the channel if you would be so kind.